Okay, this is Brian Young with, I'm sure you're all familiar with my test track. I'm going to do a 10-minute video. It might be 20 minutes, but I'll break it up into two different videos. I'm going to do another video on the anatomy of a digital car and what can cause different things to happen with your digital car, and this is for new customers that are just getting into it. First thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a car apart real quick. This is the first thing you should do when you have a digital car is take it apart, and I'm just going to go through this right now, and we're just going to we're going to unscrew the screws, or 3 screws. Look at that, I already made a mess up. Alright, and I'm going to show you all the different components. Okay, about your digital car, analog. Alright, so this is your car, basically. Everybody should know that to get your motor mount out, you kind of bend the car just a little bit. Now pop your motor mount out. And that's your motor mount with your motor and your rear axle. To get your motor out, if you ever want to pop your motor out, just get a screwdriver and, let's see, get it underneath here so it pops out kind of like a shoehorn, like that. See, I pop that motor out like that. Okay, and then you take that out, and then to put it back in, you just snick it back in there like this. Get it under near like that so it can get in there. Now sometimes if you do that, you might crack your motor pod, and just email me and I'll send you a new motor pod. Okay, some of the newer ones are thinner plastic and they don't hold up as well. Okay, alright, so moving right along. So that's your motor pod. One of the reasons why a car won't start is these prongs. These are our prongs. I call them chicken legs, remember? They are not making good contact with your circuit. Okay, so when you pop your motor back in, okay, you want to make sure that those prongs are touching the circuit. Alright, sometimes they get underneath that metal strip, or they don't make good contact, and that's why you're going to have a sporadic power. Okay, so that's the motor pod, and this is the computer chip. Alright, and then you have your guide pin. Now, these are 2 guide pins. Now, this is a car that was used and then returned. Okay, the customer didn't like the system, and as you can see, these brushes are pretty well worn. You see how they're worn like that? And that can also create problems with lane switching. Okay, now you can get some of our track cleaner. We have this new stuff called lube and clean oil that you can get, which is pretty cool. Putting some of this on the brushes, making sure the brushes are flat. Okay, you see how that one's a little cocked? That can affect the lane switching. Okay, so you want to make sure they're flat. Alright, and sometimes a brush is just worn out, it's no good, so you want to use a new guide pin. Alright, I mean, they don't last forever. These are not, they're not designed to last forever. Okay, this little mechanism right here, let me get this, so wait till it focuses. Okay, I think if that focuses, that's what's going up and down, which is changing lanes. See how that goes up and down? Well, sometimes if these are bent too down for like this, your car isn't going to switch lanes very good. Usually if you're not switching lanes very good, it might need a new guide pin. Your guide pin, this should move up and down freely. And sometimes when it's in the car, when you stick this in the car, watch, I'm going to put this in, okay, this needs to move up and down freely. See how that's not moving up and down freely? The guide pin, it's stuck. Okay, see how it's not going up, see how it's staying up there and not coming back down? Well, that might affect your lane changing, and that's in the ARS. You might have a bad ARS, okay? And you're saying ARS. Well, wait, slow down, Brian. Okay, well, these are the ARS. These are called the automatic return springs, okay? That's the spring, that's the metal or the plastic that clips into the chassis. Okay, so if I take a screwdriver, all right, and push on both sides of it. Let me get this here down like this. Hold on one second. I have one of these here for you. They're not the easiest things to take out, but they come out real easy when you have a crash. Okay, that's your ARS. If you can see it, you see how it centers itself? See how it's going back and forth? Okay, that's your ARS. It's called the automatic return spring. It's supposed to center itself. And if it's not center itself, you might have to take an X-Acto blade and maybe shave off some of the plastic on the inside so that when you snap your guide pin back in and your computer chip, let's get your computer chip back in there and make sure it's in the right little clips here that hold it into place. See, now this one's got, this car, it's got a broken mount piece. See that one right here where it's broken over here? Well, that chassis is no good. It's not going to hold this chip in place. And I bet you that's why they returned it, is that the car wasn't switching lanes. I mean, it's going to hold in there one, but it's not going to be very good. So we got that back in. So basically, we put the guide pin back in. Okay? All right, now let's push on this. Let's see what happens. See how it's coming back down? That's good. That's what we want. We want it to move. We want it to move up and down freely without being stuck in the up position. And if it is, that means you want to just shave the plastic off around the pin so it moves freely up and down, okay? That will affect your lane changing. Also, what will affect your lane changing, if this wire has come over top of your armature mechanism, that might affect the lane changing. This thing right here is basically a US FCC thing, but you know what, if you're a customer, if you just want to take it off, though, because a lot of the chips that I get, I don't have them on there, so well, somebody will tell me that, oh, that was important, but heck, half the chips I have don't you have them on there. So you want to check that out for lane changing, that you make sure your armature, but the thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you're getting good clicking mechanism. All right, let me zoom in here. Okay, let's move it up here. Okay, now watch here. I'm going to zoom in. Okay. See that right there? See how it's not coming. There we go. See how that's going up and down really good? Okay, so that's doing a good lane changing. So let's see here. Okay, so we changed lanes really good. See how that we did that? So we have a good armature. See how it's moving up and down? That's good, so that we're going to switch lanes. And don't forget there's a dead spot on the switch of about a 1/2 inch. Okay, not our cars will switch lanes all the time, okay? I'm more convinced of that. You have to tweak the cars, unfortunately. But that's the fun thing about digital, is doing little things here and there, okay? Now our new cars, our COT cars, have a new ARS. It's a different kind of looking ARS. And that's what the new ARS looks like. See that right there? See how that looks? And that pops into the Cars of Tomorrow chassis, or the new FXX cars. The new FXXs have a different ARS, and I'm getting those. See how that ARS looks different than the other ARS? See the difference? I'll lay this in here so you can kind of look at them together. See how they're a little different design? Okay, they switched them around, so I'll be getting those ARSs. Those are in the Ferrari FXXs and the Morgans, okay? Now, see that guide braid? See how those guide braids are cocked over? And that will affect your lane changing. You want to make sure those guide braids are straight, going straight back, like this. All right, you see that right there? Okay, well, this is going to be the end of this video. I'm coming on 9 minutes. I just wanted to go over the basics of the car so that you understand, you know, how to tweak different things, especially your braids, your ARS. These are the struts in the newer cars, and then these are the struts in the older cars. They just kind of click in like this. I'll go over that in the next video. Okay. Bye.